here among the cats.
The thing that takes chaos from chaos to cosmos, which is unorganized or seemingly unorganized, to organized, is a thing called fractals. Now, fractals are nothing new, and don't be frightened by the word. When Columbus invaded America, the mathematicians back in those days were talking about fractals. And in the 1400s, in the 15th century, they were talking about, these are the theoretical mathematicians, they were saying, well, a dot has no dimensions. They were talking about dimensions. And they said a line has one dimension, a plane has two dimensions, a solid has three dimensions. And then they asked themselves the question, suppose you had a very curvy line, and if you have a curvy line, it's still one dimension. And you had this line, and it was so curvy that you had a plane, a rectangle here, and this line goes through here, and it's extremely curvy, and it goes back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, and then comes out the other side, and it shades one half of that plane. What is the dimension of that line? Well, for 500 years they pondered that. And then a very brilliant scientist by the name of Mandelbrot came up with the idea that this is a fractional dimension. If it covers half of this plane, its dimension is 1.5. Now, what that's saying is that in a chart form, an irregular scattered pattern will have a higher dimensionality than one that's very smooth. A straight line through this would have one dimension. If it were a plane, it would have two. Mandelbrot went further, and he analyzed the fractal dimension of the Mississippi River. And here we go down the Mississippi River, and he found that the Mississippi River had a fractal dimension of 1.2610, which meant that it was curvy enough or staticky enough or back and forth enough that it covered 1/4 of that plane. Then the IBM management, and he's a professor emeritus of advanced mathematics at Yale and is also still working for IBM in Yorktown Heights, New York. They came to him and said, well, you know, it's nice that you're analyzing this, but it'd be more helpful for us, since we're supposedly a for-profit corporation, if you would analyze something that we might make a little money out of later. And he took a four-pronged approach. He said, okay, we'll look at economics, we'll look at physiology, which is medicine, we'll look at sociology, and we'll look at psychology. And from that, and by the way, directly because of that, we have two things. We have artificial hearts that work, and we have the World Wide Web. The World Wide Web would not work without chaos, and I'll show you why in just a moment. But what Mandelbrot did is he said, okay, we'll go and we'll study economics. And in Yorktown Heights, the largest database they had were corn and cotton prices. So he analyzed corn and cotton prices, and guess what he found? To 3 decimal places, they had the same fractal number exactly as the Mississippi River. And then they later analyzed the Ohio River, and then they analyzed the Tennessee River because it was dammed up and interfered with by man, and all of them had, to 3 decimal places, the exact same fractal number. The day that I read that, I did not sleep a wink all night that night, because it was like the curtains were opening. What it said was the markets are a natural function. They're not a man-made function, they're a natural function. So if you really want to see how the markets work, take a pitcher of water out here and pour it on the ground and watch this strange attractor gravity come in and pull it around the rocks and around the high places and the low places. So this was the Mississippi River, and this was the corn chart. Same exact thing. If that be true, then the science of chaos offers us a great deal in analyzing the markets and understanding the markets, and it may be a key to why technical analysis doesn't work any better than it does. It may be a better map in which to analyze the market, and we think it is, and we think that we can very easily prove that.
Here among the cats.